Hi, welcome to the Brief Book Reviews channel, otherwise known as An Old Guy Reviews the Book That He's Read This Week. So what's the old guy read this week? Well, book I've read this week is this one. It's called Nightshade by author Michael Connelly, published as a hardback here in the UK by Orion on the 20th of May 2025. And I guess you see the name Michael Connelly and you immediately associate that with Harry Bosch, René Ballard, The Lincoln Lawyer, all of which have been very successful books and obviously gone to TV. And I think we can probably all agree that Michael Connelly writes a very good crime novel. This, however, is a new character. So what's it all about, I hear you say? Well, the central character in this book is a guy called, let's get his title right. He's Los Angeles County Sheriff's Detective Sergeant Stillwell. He's basically been exiled to a low-key policing post in Catalina Island after a dispute, departmental dispute with some of his colleagues in the homicide desk on LAPD, where he's basically accused one of his colleagues of not being as thorough as he should have been, and it's all got a little bit tasty, and Stillwell has been fired off to Catalina Island, where most of the crime is low-key. It's because it's a touristy place, it's people drunk and disorderly, petty theft, etc. Starts off with Stillwell investigating, believe it or not, the decapitation of a buffalo, which is, we can all agree, is not a great thing to start off with. But that's the sort of thing he's dealing with. It doesn't really deal with major crime. That is until he's alerted that they think there's a body being washed up in the bay. Now, he used to work for the dive team in LAPD, so he goes down, he basically dives to find out, and sure enough, it is a body. It's a body of a woman who's been wrapped in plastic, connected to an anchor and dropped. But it appears that the currents have washed that body into Catalina Island's harbour. He immediately has to call the LAPD homicide desk, because clearly that's got to be reported to the mainland. And two of his former adversaries, detectives Ahern and San Pedro, are assigned the case. And his main adversary, the guy he complained about, Ahern, who calls him Stillborn, and Stillwell calls him A-hole. So no love lost. In fact, they don't like each other. Is asked to come to the island and have a look at investigate the murder. The further complication is that the mayor, who's already told Stillwell that the coppers that come here, they're only here for a few months, and just to mark your card, son, I'm in charge. The mayor quite clearly doesn't want too much of a fuss being made about a murder on Catalina Island, because it basically is bad for business. So he's got that to put up with. He's also got the local reporter, the guy from the Catalina Call, which is the local newspaper, on his neck saying, what's going on, is there a murder? And he wants to try to dumb down the sensationalism. So the body is eventually taken to the morgue, and they find out that it's a young girl. Her name was Leanne Moss, and she's got a streak of purple violet in her hair, hence the name of the book, because one of her lovers called her Nightshade. Nightshade, of course, being a flower that's great to look at, but also poisonous. So they got this dead body, and Stillwell is told quite clearly by the captain, his captain at the LAPD, this is an LAPD homicide case. I don't want you interfering. Stillwell's not entirely happy, because he thinks, hang on a minute, Ahern and San Pedro not quite as bad. Ahern will just go for the easy to solve route, and I'm not sure they'll do a thorough job. The running theme through this book is that Stillwell has a great sense of justice, a great sense of having to do the right thing no matter what, even if that means crossing the odd line or two. And he's basically told by his captain to leave the job to Ahern and San Pedro, don't get involved. And he's not sure this is a great idea. So it turns out that there's a gentleman's club on the island called the Black Marlin Club. And this is where very well-to-do people moor their boats. It's a very private club. And it turns out that they eventually find out that the girl that's been washed up, the dead body, is a former employee of the club and is a suspect in stealing a jade black marlin, which has been reported missing by the club. So under the cover of investigating the theft of the black marlin, Stillwell decides to keep on investigating the murder as well. And that in essence is the tale. There's lots of people with lots of secrets. It's about his relationship with his girlfriend Tash Dano, who works as the assistant harbour master. It's about trying to keep the press in line, trying to interface with his former boss. His former boss isn't happy that he's interfering, and it's a very well written crime drama. Lots of twists and turns. There's lots of nautical information here. By the time you finish reading the book, you'll know your catch from your catch up. And it's a very well-written tale. I felt it was a little bit, took a while to get going, but you needed to get to know the character. What does come through, and you feel empathy with the character, is this abiding sense of justice and doing the right thing no matter what. So in that case, he's a bit of a maverick, a bit of a rebel, but we all have a bit of a maverick and a bit of a rebel, don't we? So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd give it 7 out of 10. There's some very nice comments in there where he's talking about Catalina Island and says that sometimes you have to go to a place to realise that that's where you belong. And I guess we can all identify with that sentiment occasionally. So that's it for this week's brief book review. New character. I've got a feeling we might see Detective Stillwell again. Enjoyable read. It's based in a holiday resort. It's 341 pages, so probably a good summer read. Take it on holiday with you and enjoy a great crime novel. So that's it for this week's brief book review. 10/10 till we do it again. Thanks for watching.